Have you heard the story of Pastor Emmanuel, the man whose prayers carried thunder? The Harmattan wind was still sweeping red dust across the hills of Abori when his name became a song on everyone's lips. They said when he prayed, "Let there be peace," even the goats in the market stopped their squabbling. His smile was as bright as fresh palm wine, and his heart was as gentle as a mother's lullaby. Every Sunday, his church at the edge of town overflowed. The drums would speak, the tambourines would answer, and the choir sang with such passion that it felt like heaven itself was bending down to listen. Pastor Emmanuel would lift his hands, and miracles would scatter like raindrops in a thirsty season. A blind grandmother saw her grandchildren's faces for the first time and danced until her wrapper nearly came undone. A young boy who had never taken a step leaped like a gazelle. A couple, long considered barren, wept tears of joy that turned into laughter right there before the altar. At the palm wine joints, the old men would nod and say, "I, my brother, even the river fears the name of Emmanuel." But you know how it is, my friend. When a man's light shines too brightly, the shadows start to gather and whisper. Far below, in the deep blue of the Gulf of Guinea, where sunlight is just a distant memory, lay the palace of the goddesses of the deep waters. Their walls were built of coral and shimmering gold, and their voices rumbled like drums under the sea. The queen, Mama Olokon, was restless on her throne of shells. Her eyes flashed like lightning in a storm. Her fingernails grew longer than palm fronds, and her nose curled like a conch shell. Every time Pastor Emmanuel's powerful prayers echoed across the coast, her underwater kingdom trembled. "Who is this mortal?" she growled, her voice churning the currents. "Who dares to move the tides with his words? I will send beauty itself to bring him down." From among her many daughters, she chose Adesua, the most radiant of them all. Her skin shimmered like moonlight on calm water. Her walk was a song, a melody played on a flute, and her smile was so enchanting it could make a chief forget his own title. That very next Sunday, as the church drums began their call to worship, the main doors swung open and silence walked in. Men forgot the words to their hymns. Women blinked, wondering if their eyes were deceiving them. Adesua stood there, her white lace dress catching the sunlight, and a fragrance like 1,000 flowers followed her like a melody. Pastor Emmanuel looked up from his sermon, and for the first time in his life, the words fled from his mouth. Week after week, she returned. She always sat in the same pew, her voice a soft, sweet harmony in the choir. The congregation whispered amongst themselves, "This one. She is not ordinary, but love, my friend. Love is a stubborn goat. It goes where it wants." Believing heaven had sent him a helper, a partner in faith, Pastor Emmanuel married her, and after the wedding, his power grew even stronger. When he prayed, it was as if lightning itself bowed in respect. People who carried secret charms in their pockets felt them burn to ash. Those who practiced witchcraft felt a holy fire course through their bones. Some would spin around and around, shouting, "Leave me, man of fire, leave me." Others would stagger and crawl, clawing at the walls as if trying to escape invisible chains. A few would fall to the ground, screaming until the church roof shook, and then a profound silence, followed by peace and tears of pure freedom. But while the days belonged to miracles, the nights were filled with shadows. Strange, cold winds would sweep through the pastor's room even on the warmest nights. His food, straight from the farm, would sometimes carry the faint, unmistakable smell of sea salt. In his dreams, he saw massive waves crashing over him, trying to swallow him whole. Yet every single morning, without fail, he would kneel and pray, his voice steady and strong. Lord, my life is in your hands. No tide can drown the one you choose to lift. Meanwhile, a war was raging in Adisua's heart. Her love for this good man battled against her duty to her mother. Every night, Mama Olukun's voice would echo from the waves, a cold command in her mind. Remember why you went there. Bring me his soul. But Adisua's heart would whisper back, Mother, I have seen another kind of power, Hera. Power that heals, not destroys. This defiance sent Mama Olukun into a terrible rage. The sea turned dark and violent. Storms tore through the fishermen's nets, and lightning danced across the sky without a drop of rain. Finally, Mama Olukun rose from the deep, her nails stretching like spears, her nostrils flaring like twin caves. She called to her sisters, the spirits of the whirlpool and the tempestand together. They marched toward the coast. Sensing the approaching spiritual storm, Pastor Emmanuel climbed the tallest mountain he could find. He fasted and prayed day and night until even the eagles circling overhead grew tired of watching him. His tears fell onto the dry rocks, and it was said that angels gathered them like precious pearls. Finally, he stood, faced the sea, and shouted with all his might, Peace. The echo rolled across the land, over the hills of Ghana, and out across the churning water. That night, the sky boiled with dark, angry clouds. The sea rose like a solid wall, and from within it came the screaming voices of the goddesses. Pastor Emmanuel stood firm on the shore, his Bible lifted high. Beside him, Adisua knelt, weeping. "Forgive me, my husband," she cried. "I was sent to destroy you, but your love has broken my chains." Then Mama Olukun appeared, a towering, terrible, yet somehow pitiful figure. Her nails glowed with an eerie light, and her voice was so powerful it shattered coconuts on the beach. "You have stolen my daughter," she roared. "You have weakened the sea." Pastor Emmanuel's voice was calm but firm. "No, Mother of Waters. The sea cannot fight its maker. Return to your depth and know peace." He knelt, placed his hand on the sand, and prayed one last powerful time. A light brighter than 1,000 suns burst from the heavens. The colossal waves froze in midair, then collapsed, falling as flat and still as sleeping mats. The goddesses screamed as they dissolved into mist, carried away by the wind. The storm was over. The next morning, the fishermen found Adisua lying on the beach, fully human at last. The glow in her eyes was gone, replaced by the warm light of gratitude. She lived a long, happy life beside Pastor Emmanuel, helping the poor and singing hymns instead of the old sea songs. And the church. The church overflowed more than ever. People would nod knowingly and say, "When God holds your hand, even the ocean must bow," or "A clean heart is stronger than 100 charms." And so, my brother, my sister, remember this story. Pride sinks faster than a stone, but a love that seeks forgiveness will float forever. When good and evil wrestle, the one that kneels in prayer will always be the one to rise. And beauty without truth is like a river without fish. It shines, but it feeds no one, because in every one of our hearts there lies a sea, and every day that sea must choose whether to rage with the storm or to reflect the light of heaven. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next video.